Is the audio levels good? Let me know. The Modern World by Tommy Lee and David Carell.
In London. Now, it's a charming place where tourists love to come. But why do they love coming here? Well, you've got views of iconic buildings like the Houses of Parliament and St. Paul's Cathedral.
So, I've always wanted to visit the UK. If you live in the UK and you live near London, I want to visit you. But the thing is that for me, it's a really long journey, and all I really want to see in the UK, in London, for example, is just the architecture, like Big Ben, the London Bridge, things like that. I'm not super into the idea of British food. I do want a good fish and chips from the UK. I do want a really good fish and chips, and then with that funny vinegar stuff that they have. Tom Scott did a great video on how the vinegar that they use for their fish and chips often isn't actual vinegar. It's some weird chemical of makeup of chemicals that taste kind of like vinegar, but it seems really good. I just want authentic food, authentic fish and chips from the UK, and then I just kind of want to walk around and look at the architecture, because you know what? A lot of British cities, very beautiful. There's also this funny little island in the UK. It's called the Isle of Man. There is a ferry that goes between it and the mainland. I think it connects to London. I'm not really sure. It's a nice, quaint little island. It's so funny. So you can tell it's an island city because the architecture, the houses that are there, very similar to the ones that are on Oahu in Hawaii. Anyways, let's continue the video.
But that's not all. Have a look at this. It's a typical modern lamppost. Do you like it?
I do like it. It's okay.
Well, it does its job. But not much else. But look over here at another lamppost. It does its job and a little bit more. It's details like these.
1 second. It's kind of cut off at the bottom. Let me fix that. Wait. I think that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. As YouTube, not me.
Help make this such a charming place to be. But these two lampposts don't just look different.
Oh no, wait, this fucked up. Sorry. I am stupid. React video. Hold on. React video. And then that. Oh god, everything's never mind. You know what? I give up. I'm not a professional streamer. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Represent fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand.
So the thing about these two lampposts he just showed, hold on. Let me go. So this one is obviously really nice, right? And you look at this lamppost and you probably think that must be a bitch and a half to make. Look at all of these ornate details on like this part right here, and then these little bits down here. There's all of this stuff. If you guys don't know, the crazy thing about modern day manufacturing is that let's say you're Linus Tech Tips, for example, and you're making a screwdriver. If you know anything about his screwdriver making journey, is that he had to have a mold made for the handle of his screwdriver, for example, right? You'd think, oh, it's just a mold, right? It's just a block of metal, and then you CNC some material out of it, so it's roughly screwdriver shaped. And you think, what could that possibly cost? You know what it costs? It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It cost a fuckload of money to make one of those molds. It's not cheap. So the simpler it is to make a mold, the less it costs. So, like, let's say, for example, I wanted to make a mold for this lamppost. First of all, I'm not making. You know how hard it is to make a mold from metal? Oh my fucking god! It's not easy. It's not easy. And more importantly, like this would be many different parts. This would be many different molds. There'd be a mold for this. There'd be a mold for that, and whatever. And like all the intricate little parts. This lamppost, if you made it with like the way we do things today, it would cost like $1 bajillion. And then it would be like, I don't know, $1.5 bitch to assemble. Then you'd have to ship it from wherever you're assembling it. So the cost for this thing would be astronomical, as opposed to, where is it? Where's the other thing? As opposed to this piece of crap. Does it look nice? Hell no. But it functions. I mean, it looks okay, right? Like it's not an eyesore or anything. It's just a tube. We already make those. We make lots of fucking tubes. It's just a tube of metal and then some housing. This is probably like still metal, right? And then like a little bit of like plastic underneath and for the light, and then you got the wiring, and it's easy to make. This is not hard to make. You can make this for pretty cheap. You can make a lot of them really fast, and you don't need any specialized equipment for it. Hello, you saw this video? Oh, okay, good. Well, yeah, so the video is called How the World Got So Ugly, but it's not like that ugly, but it's just, you know, it's not beautiful, right? And the thing about that is that to a degree, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to light our streets. We're just trying to keep people safe. And if that means we have to cut some costs, that's okay. But it would be nice if, you know, we took the time to actually, you know, make video, or not make videos, make videos that are good. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my job. If we tried to just, you know, make the world that we live in a little bit nicer. But that's expensive. And the truth is that most consumers, and you know, your local municipality, your local government is in fact a consumer of these products. We want the cheapest thing. We want the best, and we want the cheapest. So it doesn't need to be beautiful as long as it works. It's like with airplane tickets, for example. If you were going online and you wanted to just travel somewhere, you know, like let's say in the worst case, your flight is like 14 hours. You're traveling from frickin' New York to Japan or something, right? That's a long flight. If you get an uncomfortable flight, you're going to be uncomfortable for 14 miserable hours. But the question is, how much is that discomfort worth to you? Are you willing to spend an extra $2,000-$3,000 to not be uncomfortable for 14 hours? Or are you going to take that $800 flight from Ryanair and be forced to stand for 14 hours, or like leaning back on a board while a flight attendant comes by with a baseball bat and she says, "I'm going to hit one of you with the baseball bat at some point during this flight. And I'm going to hit you hard, concussion hard." And you know that that's going to happen when you buy your ticket. You know that not only is it cheap, that there is a non-zero chance that you will be physically injured. You're going to take that cheap flight. You're going to do it. You're not going to spend $4,000 to fly on like Japan Airlines. You're not going to do that because that shit's expensive. The in-flight meal's not worth it. And that's why society is the way it is, because we value cheap over good. And that's never going to change.
On lamppost. Do you like it?
No. Oh, I rewound and
It does
oh well.
its job,
We're gonna rewatch this part.
but not much else. But look over here at another lamppost. It does its job,
That lamppost is
and
really
a little
nice
bit
though.
more. It's details like these that help make this such a charming place to be. But these two lampposts
I
don't
think
just look different.
lampposts like
They
that definitely
represent
belong in at least
fundamentally
parks, right?
different
Maybe not like
worldviews.
necessarily on our streets, but like
you want to
in parks,
understand
places
any
people go to
society,
think, you know?
Don't listen to what it says about itself. Look at what it creates.
I like the juxtaposition between like, wait, hold on. What the fuck? What was that just now? I don't like this shit. I really don't like this shit. First of all, if you don't know what this is called hostile architecture. This is to make sure people, particularly people who are less fortunate and homeless, don't sit there. I hate this shit. Because you look at this. We have spent the money to take this nice like granite like, you know, fucking wall here. That this wall ain't cheap. This wall is expensive, and we've gone and ruined the way its beauty with this crap. I hate this crap. All because what? You don't want someone to sit down? You've wasted money so someone doesn't sit down? How about you spend the money to help people? Fucking. Anyways, I hate hostile architecture. There's a stupid bench I've seen going around the internet a couple times where it's like it's a normal bench and then there's like an open space in the middle for like, and it's like for people, you know, who are in wheelchairs, and I'm just like, people in wheelchairs ain't looking for places to sit. They got one. That's not for someone who with disabilities. That's for someone to not sleep there. Anyways, I love London's architecture. It's really pretty.
London's little lanes are charming now, but 150 years ago in places like this, you'd have had whole families crammed into these tiny rooms without
Now you don't know that
running
the subtitles
water.
aren't
There
cropped
would have been
correctly.
open cesspits spilling down the streets, and the stench of sewage boiling in the midday sun would have been unbearable.
I've talked about this on stream before. But when you go to take a poop later, and you will, and you get to flush your toilet with one button, not only does your waste go away, not only does the bowl refill on its own, it is a modern like marvel of like human society. It is the pinnacle of human society that waste goes down the tube, goes into a waste system, is cleaned and filtered and dealt with, and we don't have to deal with all the horse poop that like London had to deal with in the 1850s. Jesus Christ, thank God. That was what did you just try to I'm reacting to the world. I'm getting mad about the way the world is, and I'm being happy about the way the world is at the same time. But it is great that we don't have to deal with that we have these modern, I'm going to call them luxuries, because you know what they are. They're not a given. To take your water, to take the water, to take the waste, to deal with all that requires so much manpower, so much engineering, so much work that you can't even comprehend it unless you are literally a civil engineer. And I'm pretty sure none of us are. At least I'm not.
The whole city stank. It wasn't only horrible to live in, but genuinely dangerous.
This is something else that makes me mad about like our society in general, is that we've always, for some reason, we build our cities near bodies of water because that just makes sense. We need water. We're humans. Water is not optional. It is required for life, right? But for some reason, we just love building our cities near water, starting industrial things, and then guess what we do? Guess what we do? Guess what we do in our nice clean drinking water? We dump our waste in it. Cool. Great. Awesome. I know it's a pain in the butt to deal with the waste, but like, look at who you're hurting. This goose is adorable. Don't hurt the goose. I love the goose. It's okay, Goosey. Anyways,
See, at that point, London had a problem. It was the world's biggest city. Its population was growing every year, along with the construction.
so on this note, um, I'm pretty sure that at one point, um, so you've probably heard the song "London Bridge is falling down, falling down." So I think the reason that that song exists, and let me be clear, I'm not an expert. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not checking my facts. I'm just a stupid internet leopard just rambling on. I'm pretty sure at one point the London Bridge itself was so overpopulated that it was actually like gonna go down. And imagine, imagine it's just a bridge, right? That shit must have been disgusting. Like look at this. Look at this. This is gross. Like this is just running water, but it's so brown it may as well be poop.
Of new factories and mills and dockyards. All those people and all that industry produced a lot of waste. It had to go somewhere. Where did it go? Into the Thames.
Why do we do this?
Something had to be done. And it was an engineer called Joseph Bazalgette who stepped in to construct London's new sewer network in the 19th century. Sewers which still carry London's waste today, rushing beneath me.
So he's talking about this guy that like helped design like London, or I guess he did design London's sewer system. But I'm sure most of you don't like really realize that most sewer systems that exist today in like especially established cities, they they were made a long time ago. They were never, a lot of them were never designed to handle the current like level of population that some of these cities have, or to deal with some of the problems that we like currently go through. Um for example, if you're in I think I have some people in chat who are from New York. When you walk down the street in New York, you see these like big like liquid nitrogen tanks by sewers or like on street corners. I'm pretty sure that those are meant to cool the sewer system lest they, you know, explode. So a lot of like our sewer systems today were made decades and decades ago. And the fact that we keep them running, the fact that they still manage to like survive all these years later and still keep the cities running, the cities that they're a part of, the fact that they continue to run after all of these decades is just, you know, a testament to how great like, you know, civil engineers back in the day were, because they probably had to think ahead. They probably had to predict, you know, how many people, you know, there's this guy from 1850, this dude right here, and he's probably thinking how many people are going to live in London in the 2000s, 150 years from now. He's like, he's not going to make it to like 1880. Is his like death date on there? I don't know, I can't see. He's probably not going to make it to 1880. He's never going to see anyone in the 2000s, but he has to sit there and probably predict how many people are going to live in London, what kind of challenges might they face. And he had to predict all of that in the hopes that his sewer system, the one that he's going to spend, you know, in what would be today billions and billions of dollars in man hours, to make sure that London can still operate centuries down the line. That's not easy.
At this very moment. And
most people can't even look ahead to like their next meal.
To replace what was essentially a stinking swamp filled with rubbish and human waste and eels. It's impossible to calculate how many lives he saved, how many millions of lives he improved. And he's commemorated here at a memorial that no one ever stops to look at.
The fact is that if you are a civil engineer and you do a big project like this, like you do for the like London sewers, or you do something for the infrastructure of your city that ends up being used forever, the fact is that you probably won't get the recognition you deserve. You if you're someone who fixes, I don't know, a problematic intersection in your city, and you stop like a car crash from happening every week. Did you know that there's like this one funny like um intersection, and for some reason people every month or so just crash into this one guy's house, to the point where he put a whole fucking boulder in front of his house, because he's just like, you know what, I'm sick of people crashing into my house. If they crash into my house and they died because of the boulder, that's fucking on them. It's not my goddamn problem. And you know what, I feel for that guy. But if you're a civil engineer who does take an intersection like that and you do actually fix it, no one's gonna thank you. No one's gonna like sing your praises. And that sucks, because those are the people that we should be like those are the people who enable us to live our lives every single day. Every time you cross the street, every time you take the train, every time you just, you know, do something with public infrastructure, there's someone to thank for that. Someone invented that, someone worked on that, and you have no fucking clue who it was. Neither do I, and we'll never be able to appreciate them. Isn't that weird? Isn't that just so weird?
When Bazalgette's embankment was completed.
Hold on. It's funny because I say this, and Evershek over here says that's true for all engineers. It feels like you know, there are engineers who come along once in a while, and they're either charismatic enough to like be in the spotlight, or they just do something that's like so cool. Like for example, Linus Torvald actually appeared on Linus Tech Tips. They released their video just the other day, I believe. I wanted to react to it, but I think I wanted to do this one more. And Linus Torvald's actually a really cool guy. And before you say it's Linus, you're wrong. He said it's Linus. Unless you speak Norwegian, then it's Linus. But like that guy, for example, he's the father of computing, right? If you have a computer with a kernel, and guess what you do, he's probably part of that. If you use Linux, he's very important to you, and we give him praise because he's very cool. He is actually charismatic. He's wrote a book, and he's actually like quite funny. But fortunately, not all engineers are quite like that. And even then, Linus Torvald is not like, you know, he's not a presenter like Linus Sebastian from Linus Tech Tips. So you don't hear about him as often either. You only know him if you're like a super turbo nerd. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. You only know who Linus Torvald is if you're a super nerd, like me. But I think that's just the case with most things.
In 1870, it needed lighting, of course. And so a public competition was held to design the lamps that would line this new promenade. This was the winning design, featuring these peculiar...
I just wanted to point out like how silly this thing looks. I was like, look at the lips on this fish. Oh my god. That's crazy. The design is actually legitimately nice though. Also, just think about it for a second. These were lit with electricity in the 1850s. Electricity in the 1850s. That's not normal. Like, the fact that they had put these up, lit them with electricity, that means people could go out at night to a park and it would be, I guess, somewhat lit, right? Like, it must have been like reasonably well lit, right? And just have a nice evening stroll. That must have been huge for those people. That must have been like, I don't know, like the first gaming console for a gamer. It's like, oh my god, this Playing Pong is sick. This is the best thing ever. It's literally just two paddles and 1 pixel for a ball. Most gamers would be like, whatever, and then they would go play Fortnite or something, right? But like, for the people of the 1850s, this must have been insane. This must have been the greatest thing ever, especially like if you lived in London. I bet the property value of like just this general area must have gone up fucking 1,000% or something.
Creatures.
Because now they had
It's a little
electricity.
much, perhaps, but what's clear is that the Victorians took great pride in their embankment and thought it needed appropriately grand.
That's
and
nice.
Dramatic.
That's also hold on. Did you guys know that I was almost a lion? I was almost a lion. But okay, so this was gonna be the joke, right? I was gonna have a mane. Only male lions have manes. And then I was just like, maybe I shouldn't. But I was almost a lion. I went with leopard because I like the tail.
See, these lamps were among the first public electric lighting in the world.
Oh, yeah.
This was a radical, revolutionary new technology. Crowds literally gathered to watch them be lit up for the first time.
Yeah, I bet they did.
What the iPhone was in 2007, these lamps were.
Okay. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The iPhone was pretty sick. Like do you guys remember like Tap Tap? I played Tap Tap on my phone. Well, I didn't have an iPhone. I had an iPod Touch 2nd gen. That was my first Apple product. I played Tap Tap so much that like my screen had like a permanent smudge from like where I would tap. It was the song game. I would like play that so much. I would like play that all the time. The iPhone was the bee's knees. I don't know if I go to a public gathering for this. Actually, I'm just kidding. I think I would actually go to a public gathering for this if it was like the 1850s. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
1870. But looking at it now, you wouldn't know that. Those lampposts don't look modern to us now. They look quaint and old-fashioned. Why? Because they are decorated. And we don't associate decoration with cutting-edge technology. And that's...
I guess that's true, right? Because when you think about like even when you were a little kid, right? And you thought about something that looked futuristic. Like let's all have a little like thought experiment. Imagine you are in the hospital in the year 3000. You are in the most futuristic point of human society. We have built a whole ass what's it called? A Dyson sphere around our sun. You are in a hospital because you have just been thawed out. You are literally Fry from Futurama. What do you think that room looks like? You probably are imagining like something very sterile looking, very like sleek, shiny, like plastic or metal, and then like very simplistic like user interface for your heart rate monitor and your other vitals. And the room just feels devoid of any kind of like personality, right? But it looks futuristic to you. Maybe you're crazy, maybe you're imagining some crap from Cyberpunk. I'm so sorry, but like let's not. I don't like, as much as I love the game Cyberpunk, I don't actually want to live in Night City. Because if you're waking up in the hospital in Night City, I'm just saying you ain't gonna be waking up with all your organs. But that's the thing about like modern design, is that, you know, we call it like what's it called, minimalist, right? It's a minimalist design. But I don't know, to me, minimalist just means like just no clutter and kind of soulless. Like you can have a minimalist design but still have like stuff in your house to show that someone lives there. But I think when most people think minimalist, they think very, very simplistic, very, very not. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. That's just how I see it. But that's just how some things are. Like like the last couple of iPhones, for example, it was just, a candy bar, and then on the back you have your little island, and that's all people talked about. You have the little like camera bump, and then you have like just flat, and then they come out with the new iPhone 17, and then it's like, oh my god, it looks so crazy. That's wow, the thing on the back is so big, and I'm just like, who gives a fuck, dude? They all look the same. It's just an iPhone. There's like my favorite phone, ever was the Xperia Z, because it came in purple. First of all, I fucking love purple. It was my only purple phone. It will probably ever be my only purple phone. It was like purple, it had glitter, and it was actually cool to look at. And I'm just like, oh, why did phones start becoming so boring? I think my next favorite phone was probably my Galaxy Note 10, because then that had like an iridescent like blue back. That was fantastic. I love that phone. Unfortunately, the back just kind of popped off one day, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? So that was fun. Nice city where the standard ambulance service called meat wagons. yeah. I don't want to be in a meat wagon. Your definition of minimalist is kind of on spot with what it's supposed to be. Yeah, like I've seen people who have quote unquote minimalist houses, and then like it still has personality. It still shows that like someone lives there. It's just, there's just not too much crap in it. There's just like an acceptable amount of crap. But like, yeah, I think generally speaking, minimalists can be kind of boring. I want to live in a house with decorations, with ornate objects, with things that are quaint and old fashioned, because that stuff's just cool. I want a grandfather clock in my house. I don't have space for one, but I would love one. That would be so cool. I want a big bookshelf with nice like leather bound books, so that way I can look at them and never read them, because that's the thing I do. And I just want I want my house to have personality. And conversely, I want my cities, my streets, the place I live to also have personality. And it's kind of sad that like often we just don't have that in our world nowadays, because it's expensive.
There's a major difference between us and the Victorians in the 19th century. They saw no contradiction between startling modernity and time-honored tradition. Just like this building, the legendary Houses of Parliament. It was brand new once, but even then, it had been designed in an old and medieval style of architecture.
It's really nice.
Every technology.
That's why I want to like visit London, because like they have all these beautiful old buildings. I don't really do the whole like going to church thing. I am technically Catholic, but I don't do the whole going to church thing. But if I was given the opportunity to go to a really nice, fancy, like cathedral, absolutely. I love seeing that architecture. That stuff is beautiful. The stained glass, the general like interior of it, like even just the the paintings and everything, or like the ornaments that they have, the candles, the cups, and the organs. Like that's all really gorgeous. That's so beautiful, and you should admire stuff like that. And it makes me sad that people don't.
Becomes obsolete.
Ew, that's
and
gross.
But a good aesthetic, even if fashions change, can never become obsolete.
Should be blue, but just saying, blue ones are better.
Those lamps on the embankment did their job.
This scene right here, this is beautiful. This is beauty. All of this right here. If someone proposed to me right here underneath these lights, I would be fucking ecstatic. That would be so great. That would be so perfect. And if I don't have at least one friend around with a camera, I would fucking lose it, because that would be too perfect. Yeah, this is gorgeous. I'd love to have like a nice long walk here.
And even though more efficient and better methods of lighting have been invented,
You should check the
they remain
cathedrals of
150 years later.
Chapultepec.
That's the power.
They're so fucking cool. I bet.
Design.
Sounds cool.
And it applies to lampposts, no less than to national parliaments.
Hold on. Quick chat, what time does this say? You have 1 minute. What time is this? What time is it, chat? That's the thing, is that I bet some of you legitimately cannot read that clock. It's almost 4:20, yeah. So it's like 4:19. I don't want to rant about how the youngins, you know, don't keep up to like they don't learn stuff like this, right? Like there's an actual generation of people, there's an actual like group of people who can't fucking read analog clocks, and I have no idea why that is. Like, did they legitimately stop teaching how to read these clocks in schools? I don't know. Anyways, this is not related to the video. I was just thinking about this the other day, how people like I asked someone what time it is. They had a watch on their fucking wrist. They still took out their phone. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
And so here, in the Houses of Parliament, everything we've been talking about comes together at last.
Look at the lighting of this room. Like you have the skylight up here, projecting down the light, and then it lights the central like area, and then the rest of it is like dark around it, and that is just so sick. I want like, look, if I become one of those streamers that like hits the ad button and then I get like $50,000 in like, a 10-minute period, I'm gonna have a crazy house, and this is gonna be part of it. I'm just saying.
Except that this is not the Houses of Parliament.
Oh, it's not?
It's an old sewage facility.
What?
A pumping station built in the 19th century.
You mean to fucking tell me that the sewage facility is this freaking nice? I just said I wanted to have a sewage facility for my house. Okay. Anyways, this is really nice. I don't care. You know what? It's really nice. I don't give a fuck what you think. This is cool. This is awesome.
It's part of Basil Jet's new sewer system. Strange to think that this is infrastructure. A purely functional building with the sole purpose of managing human waste. And yet, it has been designed with the same ornamental exuberance as any church.
It looks like a fucking palace. Like what is this green stuff down here? Like, it's not jade, but it kind of like, it reminds me of it, right? Like it's got these, oh, that was scary. It's got like all of these like super like ornate like fixtures, all these like these curves in the design, and then it's not like a box. It's like, it's actually got like depth to it. It's got shape. It's got personality. It looks like a human fucking made it, and a human intended to spend a lot of time in here. Like, have you guys ever like had an office job where you have a cubicle, you have those annoying freaking, what are they called, incandescent light bulbs, that, the long tubey boys, and then they make that annoying buzzing noise, and then you have like the false ceiling, and then it's just it's just all like the same like 3 colors everywhere you look. It's like just various shades of like white and yellow and maybe some brown thrown in there. And then it's just like, wow, this is miserable. I hate this. I'm going insane sitting in here. And that's why I hate going into the office. It's not that I like working from home necessarily. I mean, I do like working from I like not having to commute. I like not having to like, put on pants while I'm doing my job. But anyways, it's that I just hate my fucking office. Miserable.
Church or palace. Why? Well, people worked here. And why shouldn't people who work in sewers also have a beautiful place of work?
Exactly. Precisely.
That's how the Victorians thought. But there's more. There was also a sense of pride. A belief that what they'd done here.
That's the thing also. Is that most people, myself included, don't really have pride in our work anymore. We're just at our job because we just need to put food on the table, or we want to buy gaming crap. Like, right? Like, you don't actually like when even if you're, I don't know, even if you are like a fancy like civil engineer, unless you are literally world renowned, you are just trying to put food on the table. Like, ideally, yeah, you would like to be famous. You would like to do a huge project for wherever you live to make people's lives better. That would make you feel good. But when you've been doing a job for so long and you just want to go home and do whatever it is that actually makes you happy, you stop having pride in your work. Any job, no matter how much you love it, will eventually become work. It doesn't matter if you're, what you're getting. It doesn't matter if you're getting fame. It doesn't matter if you're like, doing something that most people would find fun. It doesn't matter if you're a famous streamer, right? When you play games on stream, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about like actual big streamers. Like, that's your job. And yeah, it's better than like, flipping burgers or being a cashier at your electronics store or helping people find what screw they need at the department store that I used to work at. It's better. Playing games is better than any of that crap, but it's still a job at the end of the day. And eventually, if you're only doing it for the money, you will start to not care about it. I have a good number of like artist friends who always tell me, like, when I draw for fun, that's different from when I'm drawing for commissions, because it's like they're doing the commissions for work. So it's not necessarily something they want to do, but rather something that they have to do. And I think that's what fucks people up, is that like, even for me, sometimes like I'm trying to keep a schedule for the streaming, right? I'm trying to keep the 5 days. There's been a day here or there where I'm just like, oh, I'm kind of not really in the mood, but I still want to stream. I still want to eventually be successful myself, right? I still want to get there, or at least like, provide like, decent content for you guys to watch, for you guys to enjoy. But days like that, I can't say that I love it, but I can say that it's still pretty fun. It's still pretty enjoyable. But I think if I ever like went a whole week feeling like that, I think that's where like it would be the end for me. Like, right now, I'm reacting to this video. I'm actually having fun reacting to it, but when I was like getting ready earlier, I was like, I actually have no idea how much I'll be able to say about this video, and we're an hour into the stream. So I guess now I'm having fun, but like when I started, I wasn't really sure, and I was like, I didn't know how to feel, right? Anything, no matter what, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you enjoy it, will eventually, if you have to do it just to survive, you will slowly hate it, or at least hate that aspect of it.
Was worthwhile, that it meant something. And the result, over a century later, is that this place, a sewage facility, is now a museum, a tourist destination.
That's a cool museum. I want to
If you
go
want
there.
to know what any society really believes in, just look at how they design their sewers. Just a few steps from the old 19th century Victorian pumping station, which has now been decommissioned, is the one built to replace it.
Oof.
It's not bad, I suppose. But it was very clearly...
It looks like they hide aliens in there. It looks like that is not a building fit for humans to exist in for any amount of time, even for a work thing. It just looks sad.
not built by the same society, or at least not by society with the same views about architecture and design. Will this, like the original, be turned into a museum? Maybe. In any case, I imagine that it is more functional and that it was more convenient to build and to design. Convenient. Now that's an important word.
And that's kind of our world today, right? Is that we value things that are convenient. You know, sometimes Leslie makes fun of me because I'll get McDonald's a lot. And the reason for that is that, so I live in a condominium. Whenever I need to go out, I need to take the elevator down, I need to go outside of my building, and then I need to go somewhere to get food. There are there's three options for me. Three options. The first option is the mall that's nearby. This mall is 200 meters away, maybe. Then there's three food places across the street. I won't say which ones. One of them's a Burger King. And that's like 300 meters away. McDonald's is directly across the street. It is like 50 meters away. I go to McDonald's more often than not because it's just really freaking close and it's really freaking cheap. And to be clear, that doesn't mean I like McDonald's that much. I actually kind of hate fast food. But it's not, I won't eat something just because like I don't like it. I'm just eating to live, right? I'm just putting calories in my body so that way I don't like get like hunger headaches or anything like that. I'm just trying to make it to the next meal. Just trying to make it to next stream, right? And that's why I do that. That's why I'm a creature of convenience, because I don't like wasting my time. Walking that extra 150 meters to the little mall that's by my house, that's a lot of time I'll end up wasting. I have to walk there and then walk back. On top of most of the food places there, they're very slow when it comes to like pushing out like food orders. Sometimes I can wait up to like 20 or 30 minutes just to get like some fried chicken and rice. McDonald's will have that shit out in like 2 seconds. They'll have it ready before you even utter the order from your mouth. That's how fast they are. And that's why I go there so much, just because it's so quick, so convenient. And I do that a lot. I'm the kind of person who will walk into a restaurant and I'll always order the same thing, to the point where it wouldn't be the first time that a fast food employee like sees me walk in and says the usual, and I'll be like, you know it. That's just the kind of person I am. I just want quick, convenient. I don't want my time being wasted. I just want to get in, get my food, I just want to shove it in my mouth and then be on my way so I can go do the things that I actually love doing. And you're still gonna make fun of me, Leslie? That's fine.
Look at this air conditioning unit. I think it says more about the modern world than anything else, more than phones or social media.
Oh, interesting.
It's a miraculous technology, one that has changed the world and improved billions of lives. Hence, we stick them literally everywhere. But it's ugly. Ugly because it doesn't seem to express any belief in the idea that ordinary things can also be beautiful. But worse than ugly, it's boring. Now, it would certainly be a bit more expensive to make it prettier, take a little time and care and attention, but These days, it seems that we would rather make more money than make things look pretty.
Yeah, we'd
And
rather make more money,
maybe
and we'd
that's
rather
okay.
save more money.
So you can see, I hope, that through something as simple as those lampposts, you can understand the Victorians in their entirety. They didn't have to make it look like that, but they did. Now, you might not think it's beautiful, but I don't think it was supposed to be beautiful. It was just supposed to be pretty, at least interesting, at least not boring. And that, in itself, says an awful lot. Walking around a city, any city, and looking at its buildings and its infrastructure, you're not just looking at objects. You're looking at religions and principles, beliefs and ideas. These buildings, they don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews, clashing ideas about how we should all think, live, and behave. And those skyscrapers say the same thing as our air conditioning units and sewage plants, that we have become a society of convenience above all else.
And the problem is that even though we're watching a video like this, and I'm sure a lot of you like do actually agree, I'm sure a lot of you feel like, yeah, you know, our world is kind of boring, and that we should, you know, maybe have, like, I don't know, government programs or something to beautify our like cities. I don't, who the fuck knows how you would do this. You might agree that like you would like to live in a city that's prettier. You would like your home neighborhood to just be nicer looking in general, right? But that's the thing about kind of our society today, is that most people, everyone, even if you think what I've just said, even if you agree with this video, even if you believe that you think that we should put money towards, you know, making us as a society more cultured and more interested in like craftsmanship and things like that, is that none of us are actually willing to give up modern conveniences. None of us are actually willing to change the way we live. It's like when PC enthusiasts say, "Oh yeah, you should buy an AMD GPU or an Intel GPU because, you know, they're changing up the game." And then they say those things and they still buy a fucking Nvidia card. It's like, "Oh, you should be the change for the world." But me, on the other hand, I'm going to have the best thing that currently exists because I'm not going to compromise on quality. You know, it's like, yeah, we want the world we live in to be better. We want our GPUs to have, you know, competition. But most of us are not actually willing to support the competition because most of us want something either that they don't offer, or we just want the best thing because it's, you worked hard for your money, so you're going to buy the best thing. You're not going to buy the worst thing because that's a waste of your money. And so, as much as we want these things, I think most people kind of understand that we probably, once we've gone down this path of convenience, once we've put convenience above everything else, once we've put, you know, our modern creature comforts above everything else, these convenience, these comforts, we're not willing to compromise on these things because why would you? I'm not gonna turn off my air conditioner. I don't care how much it hurts the planet, but I know it does. I know it's not good for the planet, and I'm still gonna run it because if I don't, I'm gonna sweat in VR. I'm still gonna drive my car, even though it uses gas. And that's just kind of how it is. It would be nice if we could all agree, hey, let's stop doing these things, but trying to get two people to agree on the same thing in 2025 is so hard nowadays, even on simple things.
But there's something else that we haven't mentioned about these lampposts. It would be easy to believe that they were made by artists and that we somehow wouldn't be able to or couldn't afford to make them anymore.
But that's not true. There's like 20 of them on that riverbank. And so I'm guessing the argument he's going to make is that we may think today we can't manufacture them because they are complicated, which is what I was saying at the beginning of the video, is that these would be very expensive to make nowadays. Like, there are ways to make them so if you only need, like, let's say you only need like 100, maybe it wouldn't actually cost millions to do the molds. You could just have someone craft them. It would take a while, take a lot of manpower, but you could do it. But if you wanted, say, I don't know, 100,000 or 1,000,000, then it would be worth it to make those molds. But if he's going to say that they were mass manufactured, well, not mass manufactured, if they were, manufactured in bulk in the 1850s, he's right. But making them today, the supply chains required to make them today would have been overtly expensive. I don't think anyone would be willing to pay that today.
But just like our modern lampposts, our air conditioning units, our everything, these were also mass-produced, made in a factory. We could still mass-produce lamps just like these if we wanted.
The problem with that is that you'd have to pay modern Londoners modern wages to make one of those, and then that would be insanely expensive. He's right. We can still make these things. It's not like it's impossible. If we made them in the 1850s, we can certainly make them in 2025, but it would be very expensive. It wouldn't be cheap. And that's, once again, that's the problem. That's the problem with everything. It won't be cheap and it won't be convenient.
We can make our offices and our warehouses look like Crossness pumping station. We could make anything we want. That's the ultimate truth, the hardest one to accept. But we don't. We have other priorities. And that's fine. But it's vital we accept that there is another way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree with that.
Modern design tells the truth very loudly, that we are technologically superior and very efficient, but also a little bit boring and unimaginative. And it says that we no longer believe in the idea of ordinary beauty, or in the idea of a public that deserves ordinary beauty. Museums and galleries are wonderful places where we can come and look at things that people used to make and admire their handiwork.
You know what's funny? I've never actually been to like a proper art gallery. I've only been to modern art galleries. And I sure hope no modern like artists ever watch this video, because I'm going to say something. I really hate modern art. I really like, look, there's nothing artistic about me walking into a dark ass room and watching some fucking like Blair Witch ass freaking like projector style video. That's not art, that's just annoying. I hate looking at it. But like proper art, like this thing up here, or like anime or manga or fucking manhwa, I fucking love that shit. By the way, there's a great artist, Leslie. You should check out their VGen. They make great stuff.
They're not just dead historical artifacts. These are living echoes of different ideas about what the world is and what the world could be. But in the end, you can't live in a museum. Now, why things have changed is a significant question. But that's for another time. For now, what's important is to realize that things clearly have changed. And that we've learned this just by looking at all the ordinary objects around us. Now, this isn't about past versus present. It's about learning from the past in order to improve the present. And what the Victorians can teach us is that even ordinary, useful things can also be beautiful.